Hi there guys, Justin here again. In today's video, I'm actually going to be doing something I've never done before. I'm going to be singing Geforce Experience's praises. In a previous video, I said that OBS was better for recording your screen and Geforce Experience was best for not losing or losing less FPS when recording gameplay. However, with Geforce Experience running in the background, your FPS was lower in general. Not true anymore. So what I did is in Geforce Experience, when you're not intending on creating any content or capturing your gameplay, simply what you do is go to settings and then just toggle off your in-game overlay, and then you'll notice a little bump or a little increase in FPS. And then obviously if you're going to be recording gameplay, just put in gameplay overlay on. So let's just get to the stats. This doesn't have to be a long video. Merry Christmas. So first and foremost, what I did is I loaded the latest driver. We had only installed the driver, didn't do the HD audio or Geforce Experience. And as you can see, I benchmarked it over 12 games. And then my total FPS over 12 games was 882.87, which if you divide by 12, gives me an average FPS per game of 73.56 or 57. Then with Geforce Experience installed, but with a in-game overlay disabled, over those 12 games, I actually got a total FPS of 883.73, which leaves me with an average FPS per game of 73.64. So as you can see, it's actually slightly higher, but I only did one benchmark. This took a very long time, so there is a little bit of variance, margin of error, but as you can see, there's hardly any difference whatsoever. So that leaves me to think, just install Geforce Experience, and when you're gaming, just switch off your gaming overlay. When you want to record gameplay, go and toggle on the in-game overlay. Because as you can see, of these games that are benchmarked, so just a quick disclosure, I can't think of the right word now, but Rise of the Tomb Raider, I just run the in-game benchmark, and then when I record gameplay, I compare like a little section in the game that I play. So to sit and measure the difference between the benchmark and then in-game, it's a little bit counterintuitive. So you'll see for Rise of the Tomb Raider, Horizon Zero Dawn, also I run the in-game benchmark, but then for when I record the gameplay, I do a little section in the game, so it's not a fair reflection. So I left all the in-game benchmarks except for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I left out. So what you can see here for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, when I do the in-game benchmark, because I generally do make a video or put that on my comparison video, I lose 3 FPS using Geforce Experience. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, I only lose 2 FPS because my average FPS is 67, on medium settings, and then with Geforce Experience recording is 65, so I only lose 2 FPS. Spider-Man Remastered, I only lose 4 FPS when doing my little in-game benchmark. Days Gone, only lose 2 FPS. God of War, only lose 3 FPS. Control, I only lose 2 FPS. Resident Evil, only lose 1 FPS. Resident Evil 3, I lose 5 FPS, which is the most. And then Spider-Man Miles Morales, I only lose 3 FPS. So as you can see, over those 9 games, my average FPS loss when using Geforce Experience is only 2.78 FPS. Whereas when I use OBS, my FPS loss is anywhere between 5 and mostly 10, and sometimes it can be as high as 15 FPS loss. So guys, if you want my new recommendation, it would be to install Geforce Experience, switch off the gaming or in-game overlay when you're just playing normal games. When you record gameplay and make a little video for YouTube, go ahead and switch on that in-game overlay. You're going to lose less FPS using Geforce Experience as opposed to OBS. And just to show you, here we go. I compared a little bit of gameplay in Uncharted. So let me just press pause here. So this is on the latest driver. This is using OBS. This is on the latest driver, and this is using the Geforce Experience Recorder. And as you can see, straight off the bat, my FPS is higher on using Geforce Experience. So let me just pause it here. And what you're going to see is my GPU, I always have more wattage allocated to my GPU when I'm using Geforce Experience. Whereas using OBS, for some reason, it actually eats some of my wattage or uses some of my wattage to run OBS. Quite interesting. So anyways, I'm not going to go through the whole video. I'll just skip to the end. And yeah, you can see using OBS on medium settings, I'm like without any recording software, my average FPS is 67. Using OBS, my average FPS is 59. And then using Geforce Experience, as mentioned earlier, I only lose 2 FPS. So it's quite a substantial difference there. And then for Horizon Zero Dawn, so just pause this quickly. And as you can see, generally, not always, but generally my GPU wattage or power to my GPU is always a little bit lower on OBS and a little bit higher on Geforce Experience. And straight off the bat, you can see I'm losing more FPS using OBS, and I'm losing very little FPS using Geforce Experience. So let's go through it. And also, generally, it just runs smoother in Geforce Experience as to OBS. But I suppose you have to have a very trained eye to see that. So let's pause, go to about over here. As you can see, the average FPS difference is already 7, for this benchmark already 7, and it's only been 40 seconds. And then as we get to the end of the video, as you can see, there's 8 average FPS difference using OBS as opposed to Geforce Experience. And then for my last little comparison, I'm going to use God of War. And as you can see, the trend remains. When you use OBS, you lose more FPS. The recorded gameplay looks choppier, and in general, the power delivery to the GPU is higher, and the CPU power delivery is also, strangely enough, it's also higher when you use Geforce Experience. OBS, just when you're recording gameplay, it just seems to be a much heavier application. So guys, if you're a content creator, highly recommend using Geforce Experience as to OBS. Obviously, I'm using OBS to record this. So if you just want to talk and you want to record your desktop, obviously OBS is the way to go. But when you're doing content creation or you're capturing gameplay, Geforce Experience is your friend. Guys, that's today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this content, please go ahead and smash that like button. If you haven't subbed to the channel just yet, come on, man. So please go ahead and subscribe. Other than that, guys, have a lovely day. It's people like you. Cheers.